The Denver Broncos just received sneaky but powerful news as they gear up for a clash with their division rivals, the Los Angeles Chargers, who currently sit atop the AFC West. And here's the twist: head coach Sean Payton remains calm, collected, almost unshakable. Why? Because he's already pieced this puzzle together. Before listening to the latest news, subscribe to the channel, like it, and don't forget to press the bell icon. Let's move on to the new news. Broncos Country. Here's what makes this moment so special. Sean Payton has a history of unlocking his team's potential right when it matters most. He's the NFL's winningest coach in the month of October, a sign that after those early season battles, the light turns on. He knows exactly what he has on offense, on defense, and how to scheme against anyone who stands in his way. When the Broncos walked off the field after that heartbreaking loss, many expected Sean Payton to be furious, short with the media, sharp with reporters. But instead, he was calm. Almost too calm. And that calmness is telling. It's the confidence of a coach who knows he's pieced together the formula for success. Here's why. Over the past 2 weeks, Denver has shown flashes of having both an elite offense and an elite defense. They haven't clicked together yet in the same game, but Payton sees it coming, and that's why his confidence feels unshakable. Let's start with the offense. Bo Nix, despite all the pressure of his young career, is showing he's no ordinary quarterback. Forget the dreaded sophomore slump. Nix is proving he can adjust, adapt, and dominate. Through 10 games under Payton, his numbers stack up impressively against Sean's early years with Drew Brees: more touchdowns, fewer interceptions, and the same number of wins. The yardage may be a touch lower, but make no mistake, Nix is giving Broncos Country a reason to believe. And consider the stage. Last week, Denver played in one of the loudest, most hostile stadiums in football. The noise was deafening, players couldn't even hear the man standing next to them. Yet in that chaos, the Broncos delivered the second highest graded offense in the NFL. That is no accident. That is Sean Payton's system working. The offensive line deserves its flowers, too. Hyped as a top 3 unit entering the year, they've lived up to it. Bo Nix is among the least pressured quarterbacks in football, and the numbers back it up. His efficiency per dropback ranks near the top of the league. Payton's trust in this group is well placed. And then there's the receiving core. Remember when Payton said he felt more confident in Denver's wideouts than the rest of the league did? He wasn't bluffing. Troy Franklin just had his breakout performance, showing he can be that reliable WR2. Pair that with Courtland Sutton's consistency, and suddenly, the Broncos' passing attack looks dangerous, exactly what Payton envisioned. For 2 straight seasons, Sean Payton has been building this machine, and now it's beginning to click. It feels like watching a boxer who's taken a few punches, maybe even trailing on the scorecards, but suddenly, he sees his opponent wobble. The knockout is coming. That's exactly where Payton believes the Broncos stand right now. And it's not just about X's and O's, it's about chemistry. This team has bought in completely. After Bo Nix struggled in his debut, teammates rallied around him instead of pointing fingers. Support was loud and clear, with veterans showing faith in their young quarterback. Courtland Sutton, even when not heavily targeted, threw himself into blocking assignments, springing J.K. Dobbins into the end zone for a crucial touchdown. That kind of unselfishness is why this locker room feels different. Payton knows the formula is there, a balanced offense built on trust. Last season, Denver's rushing attack was inconsistent at best. But this year, it's steady and powerful. J.K. Dobbins has been the difference maker, staying healthy, hitting lanes with authority, and putting up back-to-back strong performances. 85 yards last week, 68 the week before, exactly the kind of production this offense needs to keep defenses honest. That's why Payton is calm in the middle of the storm. He sees the offense rounding into form at the right time, with weapons across the field and balance finally restored. He knows this group has what it takes not just for October or December, but for deep football in January, maybe even February. Last week's matchup against a tough Indianapolis offense was no easy task, yet Denver's defense held its ground. And that's exactly what should excite Broncos Country right now. This unit is showing signs of becoming one of the most disruptive defenses in football. Pressure has been relentless. The numbers tell the story. Denver's defense isn't just average, it's producing at a level few expected this early. And the gamble on Nick Bonitto? It's paying off in spectacular fashion. Bonitto has generated more pressures this season than entire defensive lines in places like Carolina, Indianapolis, and Chicago. Think about that, some franchises would kill to have one Nick Bonitto. And he's not alone. Jonathan Cooper, Zach Allen, John Franklin Myers, Jonah Ellis, and Dondre Tillman are all feeding the rush, turning this pass rush into a nightmare for opposing quarterbacks. Together, they're building something sustainable, something that will only get stronger as the season rolls forward. This is the balance Sean Payton has been waiting for. Some weeks, the offense will carry the weight. Other weeks, it'll be the defense. But as long as both sides keep rising, Denver has the complete team needed to fight deep into the AFC race. That's why Peyton isn't shaken. He knows the Broncos are exactly where they need to be. Sean Payton has never been shy about setting expectations. He's called Bo Nix a top 5 quarterback in the making. He said this Broncos team has the talent to push deep into the postseason. And now, his confidence doesn't sound like hype, it's beginning to look like reality. Look at Nick Bonitto. Even when he doesn't record a sack, he's still a terror. Last week, against Daniel Jones, Bonitto won 1/3 of his pass rush attempts. Think about that, 33% of the time he rushed, he beat his blocker. That's why Justin Herbert needs to keep his head on a swivel this week. Because Bonitto will come off that edge like a freight train, and the Chargers' ground game hasn't shown enough to slow him down. And here's the sneaky good news Sean Payton sees. The schedule just got lighter. After this Chargers test comes Cincinnati, but without Joe Burrow, the Bengals are no longer the threat they once were. And it goes deeper. Across the AFC, cracks are showing. Kansas City stumbled out of the gate. Houston has questions of its own. These are the very teams Denver is competing against for playoff seeding and wildcard spots. History says teams that start 0-2 almost never make the playoffs. That opens the door. Suddenly, the path isn't as crowded. And with the Broncos heating up at the right time, Sean Payton knows exactly why he can stay calm in the storm. Denver's chances are rising, and the rest of the conference is leaving the door wide open. History says it all, teams that start 0-2 almost never win their division. That's why Sean Payton's confidence isn't misplaced, because the AFC West is still wide open, and the Broncos are right in the fight. And if anyone was worried about the Raiders, that fear is gone. After a shaky Week 1 showing, Las Vegas has been exposed. Geno Smith's collapse showed why multiple franchises have already moved on from him. Against Denver's defense, that kind of play won't stand a chance. Even better, schedule advantages are falling into the Broncos' lap. Denver returned home on Sunday evening, while the Chargers were grinding out a late-night game in Las Vegas before flying back to LA. That rest edge matters. Add to that the Chargers' mounting injuries, their top pass rusher sidelined, key linemen missing, and a roster that looks battered compared to Denver's momentum. This is why Sean Payton isn't panicking when others are. The road ahead includes the Bengals, the Eagles, even a trip overseas, but he knows this team is built to handle it. The Broncos finally have balance, chemistry, and belief. Broncos Country, this is the time to stand tall. This is the time to believe. Your team has the fight, the coach with the vision, and the players to carry it deep into January, and maybe beyond.